It's the Weekly Wrap with your host, broadcasting legend Bruce Wolf, and his trusty sidekick, comedian Tim Slagle. And now, without further ado, Bruce Wolf.
Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. Tim, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Bruce. How about you?
Very good. I'm always trying to talk to the people who are just listening to this about the background behind you, and it looks like a painting. I'm going to say it's something that Magritte threw out. I don't know what is it.
No, it's the going out from the saloon into the street where Yosemite Sam would go. It's a Looney Tunes. It's a Looney Tunes background.
It's a Looney Tunes cell. That's wonderful. Well, Suffering Succotash, it's good to see you, Tim. And so, you know, I've got to admit it. I've got a little bit of a crush on this woman who might, if pressed, want to put me to death because I'm a Jew. She is the new Italian president. Is that what she is? Giorgia Meloni. And I could listen to her talk forever. She gave a speech, which I believe YouTube yanked at one point. They may have yanked it because supposedly she's a fascist. The Democrats or the liberals are all, saying in America are saying she's a fascist. But even her opponent in Italy, who's a member of the left, said that's going a little too far. Okay, fine. But she talks about.
In a bipolar world, you're either communist or not communist, and so fascists hate communists. So
you don't have to be bipolar to be fascinated by her. Although maybe I am. The thing about her is, she's kind of a branch of conservatism. It's not exactly my branch because she wants a lot of government action. Basically, the problem in Italy. A big problem in Italy is that there are no Italians. That's a big problem. Well, they're not.
What are the tourists going to do? That's what they come there for.
Got to at least have a couple of people standing by those statues of Michelangelo and the like.
Is this authentic Italian pasta? Nah, it's Mexicans in the kitchen here too.
Right. We need a few human props, and the problem is Italy's. And you'd think. In a country that basically houses the Vatican, where they supposedly don't allow birth control or try to tell the world that they should make every sexual act free to create a human being, that in
the Vatican they just keep all the women in the convent.
There we go.
It's kind of a boys' club.
But it is a little bit ironic, I guess, that they have a population problem in Italy because they're not replacing the dead Italians, and God knows how many of them get blown up with Apollonia as collateral damage in Godfather. So, but they really need some. They need to foster larger families, or at least families in Italy, and they're hell bent on not only zero population growth, but on the decrease of the population. So she wants public policy to benefit that, and it's very difficult. And she sees all these crazy situations where it's okay if your two transgenders want to get along or something. They foster all that, but just a good old-fashioned couple or a good old-fashioned family has a hard time in Italy. And her personal story is one, I guess she had a child out of wedlock, and this wouldn't help her personally, but she wants to help families blossom. But she's fiery, and she speaks Italian. And that language, it's so much fun to listen to her that, she spoke for, I think, about 12 or 15 minutes. And you know my attention span. I can't even stand that our segments last 11 minutes and 45 seconds. I want to get out of them. But let's listen a little bit to her. And I hope you can catch a little bit of flavor. This is Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. And I'll translate. I'll try to talk softly like a UN translator so that you could at least hear her. But she's hot. What can I say? In every sense of the word. Let's. So are we hearing her right now? Because I don't hear her at all. And so they attack our national identity. They attack religious identity. They attack gender identity. They attack family identity.
Non devo potermi
I can't define myself as Italian, Christian, woman, mother. No.
Donna, madre, no. Io devo essere
I
cittadina.
must be citizen X, gender X, a parent, the one, a parent, the two. Pasta fazool. No, sì,
Quando non avrò più un'identità, quando non avrò più radici, beh, allora sarò lo schiavo perfetto in balia della
okay, I know right now you're thinking it's Mussolini and align with Hitler, but no. No, she's upset with the Italian government trying to create the perfect consumer instead of get back to their traditional roots of family. And okay, that's enough for her. But I mean, for our purposes. But I highly recommend listening to her, and I'm totally taken in. And Michael Brendan Doherty of National Review wrote about how how attractive what she has to say is, and that I believe he said that Ron DeSantis could use a few lessons from her, because Ron DeSantis like speaks the language, but you don't get the emotion like you may have gotten with Trump. And he's more of a connect the dots kind of guy. It reminds me a little bit of what Jonah Goldberg said about Mitt Romney, that he was conservatism was a second language to him. DeSantis, it's not a second language, but he lacks a certain passion and a certain way of connecting with people. Now, of course, you connect with people too much, it's a little dangerous. We all know about the cult of the personality and the problems with Hitler and Mao and the like. But I got to tell you, this is the new right. It's a little bit dangerous. Maybe it's a lot dangerous. I don't know, but I kind of like her. I'm kind of biased in favor of her. What's your view of Ms. Meloni?
I wonder if you would refer to her as Italian X. I wonder if that's. I wonder if that's.
She did mention in her speech that we're gender X and we're a person X and right. So I don't think she would like that. I don't think she would like that at all. She ended this speech, and I made it all the way to the end. And you know that I don't make it to the end of anything. She quoted Chesterton about talking about how at some point they'll get you to question whether 1 + 1 or 2 or whatever the basic truths. And so, I mean, when you hear Chesterton being quoted by a fiery woman in Italian, which is so lilting and so much fun, it's quite an attractive thing. So that's why I'm writing in Meloni for president of the United States. As a matter of fact, when we invoke the 25th Amendment on Joe Biden, I certainly don't want Kamala to replace him. How about we make Meloni the president of the United States? How about Joe Biden with, I always try to look at things innocently, have an innocent construction of things. Maybe when he was saying, "Where is Jackie?" And he was referring, of course, to this dead congresswoman whom he had written a note about how much, he was sorry that she had died last month. And when he said, "Where's Jackie?" he was talking metaphorically. It was like, yeah, I know she's dead, but where is she? And can we actually play the clip of that? Okay.
I want to thank all of you here for including bipartisan elected officials like Representative Governor, Senator Braun, Senator Booker, Representative Jackie. Are you here? Where's Jackie? She was going to be here. Help me.
Ouch. Okay. All right.
Are you sure it was the representative Jackie and not the one that was in the back of a Lincoln?
Maybe that's the one we're talking about too. It's just there's no way around that one. There's just no way around it. And that the Democrats would be screaming if Trump pulled something like that, anything, closely resembling that, they'd be talking about the 25th Amendment.
Oh, they'd look up his family. They'd look up her family, and then they would come on the air. They'd go on CNN. They're saying, they'd be demanding an apology for,
but they would wanting to get rid of the president because the president has lost his marbles. He can't say "Where's Jackie?" to somebody who died. And
Democrats see dead people. I mean, and more than just more than just more than just registered voters in Chicago. If you remember Barack Obama at a Memorial Day speech, he goes, he said, "Many fallen soldiers. Some of them I see in front of me now."
Oh, there we go. Okay. Speaking of Chesterton again, he always said that we should extend the franchise to the ancients. And so we should keep the memory and the spirit alive of dead people. So maybe, Biden had something, worthwhile right there. One other thing is, do we really need an actual person to be the president of the United States? I mean, it's such an antiquated notion. I mean, I know it's in the Constitution, but we really basically vote for a bundle of ideas. And we have to have somebody embody it, I guess, because we're corporeal. But as we get more into artificial intelligence, do we really actually have to have a person be the president of the United States?
Do we?
I get apparently not. I mean, the Cubs tried a college of coaches in 1962, I believe. It's worth resurrecting that idea.
But I don't think Do you really think he's acting as the president? No, Jill just drags him out to read the teleprompter every so often, and all the decisions are made by by the people behind the screen.
Right.
Right. That's all. That's why when he says something, then they have to come back and go, no. That's not what he meant to say.
It would be kind of
that's
fun
not
if
what
they
we
actually
told him to say.
It'd be funny if they actually had somebody right next to him. Maybe the sign language interpreter saying something completely different. I mean, that would be that would be fun. Be like that sign language interpreter. Remember at Nelson Mandela's funeral, the sign language guy, who was right near Obama, and all these heads of state was a fraud. It was just he was making up signs like Curly from the Three Stooges. He was snapping his hands together and fingers and pick two and all that. It's a little bit scary. Anyway, in any event, well, we can't get rid of Biden because Kamala, who wants to give aid to communities of color and not to anybody else, apparently, for hurricane relief, would become the president. Bruce Wolf and Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap.
Washington, D.C. stop of her tour, playing a little bit of history. So she played a 200-year-old flute at the Library of Congress and later also got to show it off on stage at one of her concerts. A French flute maker gave it to President James Madison in 1813, and it has been in the Library of Congress's vault for decades.
Bruce Wolf and Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. And Tim, I have to admit, I've never heard a song of Lizzo's. I know who she is. Of course, it's like with me, it's like Billie Eilish, who I amused one of my daughters when I thought that Billie Eilish was a man. So
I like Billie Eilish. I'm not really familiar with Lizzo's work.
So I mean, the story behind this, of course, is that the Library of Congress wanted a little pub, and they knew that Lizzo had majored in the flute or something like that. I don't know. Did she go to Juilliard or one of those big schools, or they all did? I know. I
have no idea.
Lady Gaga went to Juilliard. Yeah, I always assumed that all these rockers, Mick Jagger went to the London School of Economics. They're all these intellectuals who were, like we all are. They just can do rock and roll or rap or whatever they do. Anyway, so they gave her. It's not like she went in and who was that guy who stole documents? Not Donald Trump.
Sandy Berger.
Sandy Berger walked out with, it's not like she stuffed a flute in her pants. Not that there's stuff in.
There's worse places she could put it.
Well, we didn't show the clip of her where she was actually in concert, and she's dressed in, how would you describe that? I mean, she's more
not
than
enough.
Half naked.
She's wearing not enough.
Yeah, I mean, and
they compliment her. They say she's body positive. That's,
there's no question. She's got an ample posterior among other elements of her body.
But I question how body positive she is. I'll bet you any money when she goes out to eat with friends, she still orders a salad.
Of course. I mean, she's got to watch herself, no question. But I mean, and she's got the flute there, and she's 3/4 naked, and it kind of looks like if she were in a flute section, she would be playing first and second chair because of her derriere. Another.
Well, actually, it looks like she's about to do a duet with the bass flute, so to speak.
Oh, okay.
in that position.
Right. Here's the thing, I'm reminded of Alan Bloom in The Closing of the American Mind, of course, when he wrote about how civilization basically ended when Mickey Mouse and Fantasia handed a conductor's baton to Leopold Stokowski. I mean, that was it. It was over because all the classical music had just given way to this crass commercialism of, the guy who just had converted from being Steamboat Willie. So, or had been in Steamboat Willie. And I don't actually, and apparently at one point, she was a little bit tepid, a little nervous about actually handling James Madison's flute. Dolly, on the other hand, had no problem at all. Oh yeah. So no. The thing is
Abigail Adams. Abigail Adams took it out of the White House when there was the fire.
Oh, the War of 1812.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It's the Library of Congress wanted a little publicity, so they handed it to her. And it's not like James Madison ever played the thing. It was a gift to him. So it's not like it had his
right.
It was a sacred thing. It was just
right. It's not
something that was given.
It didn't smell like his teeth.
No,
to speak.
His wooden teeth. So it wasn't the worst thing in the world.
That was actually my favorite Babylon Bee. Is Beyonce is going to do a concert with George Washington's teeth.
There you go.
There you go.
No problem at all. Let us revert back a little bit. We did make a mention of Kamala Harris wanting to give aid to communities of color for hurricane relief, which, we as conservatives, we're always talking about the impact on communities of color of liberal policies, like no bail, and things like that. So, I mean, I don't mind it.
Well, she said that the communities of color were impacted the worst. It was all beachfront property.
That's true. Well, a lot of communities.
It couldn't
live
be
on the beach.
Yeah, what color?
Sandy.
Orange,
very sandy. So anyway, do we have a clip? Oh, let's listen to the clip of Kamala.
It is our lowest income communities and our communities of color that are most impacted by these extreme conditions and impacted by issues that are not of their own making. And so absolutely. And so we have to address this in a way that is about giving resources based on equity, understanding that we fight for equality, but we also need to fight for equity, understanding not everyone starts out at the same place. And if we want to be in an
okay. If she would stop smiling at the end of that, because everything's funny to her. But
well, you know what I just noticed in this one, this time I listened, I just noticed she said it's events not of their making. Right. So what she's implying there, it's the rich white people on the coast who made this.
Well, of course there is a causal nexus between the rich white people flying around in their Gulf Streams and having these heavy carbon footprints and causing all the geological and thermal changes in the atmosphere. So they're responsible for all the hurricanes, even though if you read somebody like Roger Pielke, and if I were on Channel 9 News, I would just love to toss it to Tom Skilling and say, Tommy, I know you think we got the global warming and all these hurricanes and stuff like that, probably evidence of climate change. But, if you read Roger Pielke, Tommy, and I know you're a news anchor isn't supposed to throw stuff like this at you, he'll say that there hasn't been any greater hurricane activity in the last century, and it just isn't there. And he's not like a climate change denier either. What do you have to say to that? And then Tommy might revert to doing puppet shows like I think he did many years ago.
This hurricane was an I. So it was the Katrina was a K, and it happened in August. Right. We're pretty much in October, and we've only gotten up to the I's. So
sure,
it would seem that the frequency is going down.
I hadn't alphabetized it quite as well as you have, and I appreciate that. That there is something to be said for that. I am just, I'm so old-fashioned. I like my hurricanes named after women. I like my battleships named after women. But that I'm a sexist that way, and I should be shut up. And so I won't say anything more about that. Did you see? I did. While we're reverting back to the first section, we're talking about Joe Biden having said, "Where's Jackie?" when she's been dead for a month. Doesn't that make like Trump's Kovef look like Oscar Wilde? I mean, it's just, all the ridicule he took over Kovef, and
that was a tweet too. I mean,
it was just a tweet, but I mean, it was just
I've put things, I've texted things that made no sense.
Of course,
those little buttons, they're just little buttons, and they don't,
absolutely,
there's no feel to them.
And for those of you listening at home, this is just the verbal version of a Twitter feed right now, so we don't know what we're saying. So and also in the old days, somebody like JFK, his infirmities were absolutely hidden from the public. So I don't, the guy was practically on his deathbed. So
Whoop, there he goes.
And we're showing right now Biden wandering away from the podium as his FEMA administrator attempted to lead him in another direction. I mean, nothing wrong with that.
He went looking for his child.
It's not as bad as the last rites being administered to JFK, and we don't even know about it. So everything's relative. Did you see where McDonald's is coming up with Happy Meals for adults? as if the protracted adolescence that we put everybody through isn't enough. Now we're going to have Happy Meals for adults.
Well, I don't see, it as a baby boomer, I think we were the first generation of the protracted adolescence.
Absolutely, because we still are there.
Yeah.
I always thought, for example, we're going to like rock and roll music, till we're in our 20s, and then we're going to graduate to classical music. And and here's Mick Jagger on his 15,000th world tour. He's going to give a posthumous concert one of these days. We never.
Somebody pointed out, I saw this, that charcuterie is just Lunchables for millennials that want to sound grown up.
Oh, is that what it is? Is that what it is? I mean, is there any particular figurine you would like in a Happy Meal? I mean, to me, the McNuggets are plastic enough. I don't need anything else thrown in there.
It's now all these places that these wing joints, they all offer boneless wings. Have you seen that? What is the difference between a McNugget and a boneless wing?
Nah, the buffalo sauce.
Except maybe you don't dip it in ranch. I don't know.
Right, there we go. And finally, we'll close the segment. The White Sox, Tony La Russa is not going to return as the manager. And everybody's concerned about who the next White Sox manager will be, except for you, of course. God bless you on that. My only concern is, will this White Sox manager seriously take to heart the fact that White Sox fans demand that their manager make it a priority that the Sox beat the Packers? That's all I care about. And that's all White Sox fans care about as well. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. Bruce Wolf and Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap, and now it's time for a little game we like to call Political Password. I love alliterations, and here's the star of Political Password, Chris.
Oh, Bruce, who are we kidding? You're always the star.
That's right. Don't you ever forget that. Okay.
All right, so to recap the rules, now becoming a favorite, at least of mine. It is going to be a political figure, a political movement, or a political document from today or yesteryear.
Can it be a political musical instrument? The answer is Lizzo.
Correct.
Okay.
If we have a bonus, you just won it.
Okay.
So we'll do best of 7. I will give the password. We'll start with Bruce. If you remember, you have to mute yourself or take your headphone off and make a noise like you do, Bruce.
Okay.
For a second so I can read the password.
Okay.
And then we will come back and Bruce will go first. So are we ready?
I just realized something. I don't think I'm hearing anything in my headphones.
Well, then you're going to hear it when I say it right now.
It's strictly cosmetic, these headphones, and I'm going to take them off.
Oh, and how cosmetic they are.
They're wonderful. They're like Gary Owens on Laugh-In. One ear headphone.
Giant.
I am going to clog my ears up for the next 10 seconds in 3, 2, 1.
The password is Biden. Biden.
Okay. Ready?
Right. We ready?
Okay.
Bruce, to you first. Senile.
Joe Biden.
Well, I'm really good at this. That's the problem. We can rip right through this. It hasn't taken more than 2 passwords for you guys to get these. Okay. All right. So we chalk up 1 for Bruce. And now Tim starts this time through. So we now do the mute in, or you make the noise, Bruce, in 3, 2, 1. You ready? The password is George Washington. Washington.
Okay.
All right, we're good. Tim, to you.
Okay.
Cherry. Cherry.
Beats me.
Bruce, to you. Wooden.
George Washington.
There you go. See, again, not more than 2. We're going to burn through these 7.
Did you get that, Tim? What you heard of Wooden?
Oh yeah. No, I didn't. I was thinking of current. I wasn't thinking that far back.
Yeah, because Cherry, he got Martha's cherry, if you recall. by playing James Madison's flute.
So, all right. So now we are back to Bruce. You ready for the password, Bruce? Bruce. All right, Bruce. You started before I said I was going to say it. So you got to do a 3, 2, 1, and then you plug your ears. You ready?
Oh, 3, 2, 1.
And 3, 2, 1. There we go. The password is mega. Mega. We ready, Bruce? You back? Everybody's back?
Yep.
Red. Red.
Putin?
I think I'm going to purposely give bad clues on this one so we can extend this and fill up the whole 11 minutes.
Sure, understood.
Rally. Rally. This is to Tim, by the way. Now we're at Tim. Tim's guess.
Rally. Trump.
It's orange.
Now to Bruce. Hat.
Did you say?
Hat.
Pro-abortion.
Your mic is going sideways, Bruce.
No good anymore?
It's getting distorted.
Batteries. I'm guessing it needs batteries.
Unless you want to click to your computer audio really quick. Otherwise, we have to stop and reset. So what was your guess?
I said pro-abortion movement.
Incorrect. Tim. Trump.
MAGA.
Bingo. Ding, ding, ding. It was now 2-1.
What's red about it?
The hat.
Oh, the red hat. Yeah.
You only get 1 word. So
we need. I think we need a canned audience for this.
I do play the theme underneath it.
I forgot the password.
So there's no Steve Dahl dead air.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Moving on. We start with, hold on, Tim on this one.
Oh, sure. I need to cover my ears. Ready? Okay.
Yes, you do.
3, 2, 1.
Meloni. Are we back?
Ready?
Tim, you're back?
Yep.
Gorgeous.
I can't remember her name. The Italian Prime Minister.
I was thinking.
I don't know. I can't remember her name.
I think
We
it's
talked
not
about
Lizzo. It's not Lizzo.
Definitely not Lizzo.
I'm gonna have to go to the judges on this.
Okay.
It's because it is technically Meloni. Will we accept
Okay,
Italian
let's give it to
Prime
Tim.
Minister?
It's good enough.
We're now tied at 2.
Very exciting.
Very good guess, Tim. Very good guess. Okay, now we go back to Bruce. Bruce, we're
Go.
gonna
3, 2, 1.
Kamala is the password. Kamala.
Right?
All right. I'm pretty sure this is all one word. If it's not, please excuse me. Knee pads. Knee pads.
Monica Lewinsky?
Ooh,
So close.
so close. So close. Idiot. Tim. Idiot.
Kamala Harris.
There you go. Ding, ding, ding. Tim is on the comeback trail here. Was down 2-0. Is now taking a 3-2 lead.
Right. But I got home field advantage for the last 2 games.
You do.
Okay. All right.
So we have 2 left.
Okay.
Can Bruce make a comeback?
3, 2, 1.
Tammy Duckworth. Tammy Duckworth is the password.
Okay.
Okay, Bruce, to you. Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you in the right frame of mind?
Yes.
Braces. Braces.
I know what I'm thinking of right now, and I'm not going to say it.
Doesn't go with knee pads, does it?
No. Tammy Duckworth?
Ding, 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 ding.
What? Seriously?
There was no negative. There's no negative.
There's no negative connotation.
I didn't insinuate any joke that may have been said in the past.
Fine, no problem. Right.
Wow. I was thinking Chelsea.
I was thinking of, can Lizzo play the flute with, does she still have braces on? That's okay. All right. We're tied at 3.
You're now tied at 3. This is for the win.
Okay, here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
The Constitution. The Constitution.
Okay.
All right, Tim, you ready?
Yep, as I'll ever be.
Parchment.
Constitution.
Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, I was hoping it was the Declaration.
Tim, this was a
Congratulations.
unbelievable comeback. One for the ages. People will be talking about this for decades to come.
That was terrific. That was a great comeback.
This is better than Aaron Rodgers last night on Sunday Night Football when he couldn't complete a pass in the first half and led them to victory in overtime. Very much like that.
Trying to remember that game. It was one of several that I watched just
Patriots.
Taping this.
Patriots run their 3rd string quarterback.
Right. Yeah, it's a great thing when you beat the teams. You have to go to overtime to beat a team's 3rd string quarterback. And the 2nd string quarterback was Brian Hoyer, who, the quintessential journeyman. So I'm wondering about the Packers right now. I mean, they beat that was the Bears' biggest defeat so far this year, 17 points. But had they been able to score, and they might have actually scored, it could have been a closer game. I for one, and I'm so blasé about the Bears. The last 2 weeks, I haven't even watched the first half live. I've been playing golf. I've listened on the radio on the way home from golf, and I know I missed 4 unsuccessful trips to the red zone. But well, I mean, they got field goals, but yeah, they're not. There's nothing to get too excited about over the Bears. Boy, would I hate to be on sports radio right now.
Not to totally to nerd out with you for a second, Bruce. I don't know if you watched the Northwestern game Saturday.
That's totally nerding out. No,
the same thing happened where this would have brought the Cats within 3. It was against Penn State, undefeated Penn State. And the ball looks like on the replay that it breaks.
Oh my goodness! Now Northwestern's building a new stadium, and it's only going to seat 35,000 because they know how many fans they have.
Well, make it look crowded, right?
It'll look very crowded. Bruce Wolf and Tim Slagle on the weekly wrap.
Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the weekly wrap, and now it's time for Wolf's World in Tim's Town. And here's the star. Here's the star is also the same as the star of Political Password. This reminds me of like when Ray Rayner used to be on Dick Tracy and the morning cartoon show, and Bozo Circus as Oliver O'Oliver. I mean, he is a multitasker. His name is Chris. Hi, Chris.
Didn't he also host a family movie or something like that?
That's Fraser Thomas.
Sorry, a little before my
hosted Garfield Goose as well as Bozo Circus at one point, and he was on Channel 9, and he was ubiquitous. As a matter of fact, he was always at Channel 9. I mean, for years and years, and a lot of us grew up with him. And he actually died in the hallway at Channel 9. He was there. He collapsed and died. And I won't name the person who came up with the line, but I think it's one of the funniest impromptu lines I've ever heard. And I wish I had said it, as horrible and as vicious as it was. Somebody said, "Down goes Frazier." So, it was a great line.
It wasn't Tom Skilling. He's too nice.
No, he wouldn't have done
too much of a weenie.
But it was a very nice guy who said it, but who has a wicked sense of humor. But I won't tell you who it is.
You'll tell me in private.
Maybe I will. If you're good, if you host a good Wolf's World in Tim's Town, I will. That's for sure. Okay.
When have they never been good? They're always good.
Yeah, they are. I don't know what I'm saying.
Since it's been a while, let me refresh the memory.
Yeah, refresh our memories as to what it is.
So, Wolf's World, Tim's Town. I scour your Twitter and Facebook feeds to find interesting, funny, captivating posts, tweets.
Can I just interrupt for a second? Did I read that Facebook is cratering? Is that true, or is that just wishful thinking on my part?
I did not read that.
Okay. Tim, you haven't heard that.
The stock? Meaning
I
think I did hear that.
Or are they just going to,
it's no Zuckerberg's like fell off the list of the 10 richest.
Wow. I mean, have any of the users of Facebook felt it? Has the number of their friends gone down? So, all right. Well, then I feel for them.
No, it's the stock. I don't think. I think people are using it just as much. It's still a place where senior citizens act like kids.
Totally. And when people like us got on it, the kids got off.
Yeah,
and that was smart of them.
I can't wait to ruin TikTok.
Oh, one of my kids told me that I should try to ruin TikTok. And I'm just afraid that the Chinese then get all your information. Am I being like one of Steve Dahl's quintessential WGN listeners, who the lady from Tinley Park, who was always worried about coming downtown because of all the the problems back in the 1970s there? Oh, Wally, tell me, give me directions to the airport. Am I being silly about that, or is TikTok really dangerous?
That might be a rumor. The Chinese are taking all your data. That might be a rumor started by the kids to keep us off.
All right. Okay. Oh, well, maybe we'll float Wolf's World in Tim's Town on TikTok. I know it has to be like 40 seconds, but we'll take a clip and Well, think about it. It's up to Chris, the ubiquitous.
Or find some hot young girl to lip sync to
there we
Wolf's
go.
World and
That's what it
Timstown.
comes down
One
to.
of Bruce's parodies.
Sure. One of my one stanza parodies. All right, let's play the game.
Let's play the game. So I still have a bunch of old ones I have to burn off, but one recent one caught my attention.
Sure.
And that was, of course, we always start with Wolf's World.
Oh, yeah.
He is the star. So this was, I think it was earlier today even.
Oh, yeah.
A little feud online, Bruce.
Yes, I did have a feud.
So the Barroom Network, which if you don't know what that is a very cheap imitation version of Barstool, I believe. I think, because I don't know what it is. So I assume that's what it is.
It's a guy. I actually know the guy who does it. I think he interviewed me once, and he's a real nice guy. And he's a big Bear fan, and he got upset with me. Well, you'll tell them why.
Here it is. So Barroom tweets, usually takes 24 hours for me to get over a Bears loss. Still feel like, let's just say the S word. Then you retweet that saying, have you thought about getting a life?
Which, it's not clever by me, and I wasn't intending it to be, but it was just like, it's only a Bears game. Well, I feel bad that I don't have passion for the Bears like I did when I was 10. And I've graduated out of that and TikTok and just about everything except golf.
So he gets a little chippy after that and says,
yeah,
you mean one like yours? No, thanks.
There we go. And then I said, good point. So, I was just trying to be conciliatory.
He does not want to live in Wolf's World.
Well, I hear Timstown ain't so grand either. All right. So, yeah. So it wasn't one of the greatest feuds.
Well, I wanted to know
it wasn't a bad one.
I wanted to know if you knew the guy personally, and how did it end, or was there a phone call?
I think you know what he and I exchanged direct messages, and I said I was sorry because I don't like to hurt anybody's feelings. I like. As a matter of fact, I always hated it when I found out that athletes were actually watching or listening to what I had to say. I thought they were above it all. I mean, they got to actually play the games, and I didn't. I was just, shouting from the sidelines. But sometimes they would
as
get
Mel
upset.
Brooks once said, a eunuch watching the sex act performed.
I actually upset Mel Brooks once. I was interviewing him, and I knew the 2,000-year-old man record by heart, and I thought that would impress him. But then he asked me if I had seen he'd done a movie, I think it was called To Be or Not to Be, and I said I hadn't seen it. And you could see the life go out of his face. I mean, it was Mel Brooks. The life went out of his face from some little stunk radio interviewer. Oh my God!
Was To Be or Not to Be? Was that a remake of the Jack Benny film?
I think it was.
Yeah.
And but people are so sensitive. Not me.
Moving on.
Stop looking at me that way, Tim. Okay. So, all right.
Hey, get a life.
Okay. I hope Timstown's tweet was much better than mine. Okay.
Well, now we're going back to burn off some of these older ones, which I thought were good and needed to get some time. So, Tim, we go back a little bit here. This was a post from March. Well, now there's evidence that it's preferable to be ruled by a comedian than a career politician. They're giving yourself a nod, and obviously the Ukrainian president was once a comedian and actor.
Sure.
You know what I love about that tweet? Not everybody can see it. It's like a blue background with big black type. It's it was designed. It's very nice, a nice graphic.
You're not on Facebook. They let you do that.
Oh, I told you, practically a Luddite.
You're a Twitterer.
Yeah, I didn't realize that you could do things like that. Very nice.
They give you higher prominence in the news feed if you make a little graphic like that.
Very nice. And I'm surprised, given your contributions, that the stock price is tanking. I really am. So there, thank you.
Yeah, I have wasted the past 10, 15 years of my life on Facebook. I'm just a rat in Zuckerberg's cage at this point.
We all have to waste our lives somehow. Yes, Chris, do you have any more wonderful tweets?
As you know, there's a small thing that irks me a little bit, and that's Bruce never promoting the show. So my question is, this is a Dan McNeil tweet when he's promoting his show and saying it should be a hoot because Bruce Wolf is gonna be sitting in and questions, yada yada yada. So my question is, Bruce, did you promote the show on this?
I'm sorry, what about it?
My question is, did you promote your own show when you were on Dan McNeil's show? Right before us on WJOB, by the way.
This was on May 12th. Okay. I think I did, but I can't be sure. I know one time I was on a show and forgot because I was consumed with talking about Mark Giangreco and blasting him. So I forgot to aid my own cause. But I think I may have actually mentioned this show. So I'm learning slowly.
Here's the good news. Mark Giangreco has now been mentioned on this show 6 weeks in a row, I believe.
You know what? I wasn't trying for the record. Had I been conscious of it, I probably would have screwed it up somehow. But Cujo's, as Michael Jordan would have said to me. Did you know that Michael Jordan once said Cujo's? Did you know that, Tim?
Yeah.
You did know that? Okay. And that when they were in France, the Bulls were in France, he said that he enjoyed going to the luge. I thought these things were apocryphal, but I'm willing to believe it. So, and it's Michael Jordan.
I always thought that when the British said that they had to go to the Louvre, that was a reference to the French museum.
No, there we go.
I found out it wasn't.
Yeah.
I always thought it was. I thought it was the British way of cracking on the French.
I look, as far as I'm concerned, if Michael Jordan calls it the luge, then it's the luge. That's he can transform anything. Well, I got to tell you, Chris, it was a pleasure. This World in Timstown. I certainly enjoyed it, and we'll be back next time. Unlike Fraser Thomas, Bruce Wolf, and Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap.
And that's the Weekly Wrap on radio and television. Follow Bruce at Bruce Wolf Shy on Twitter and Tim at timslagle.com. The Weekly Wrap with Bruce Wolf, a CP Pods production. Copyright 2022.